will arrive. Now they're looking at Donald Trump. One of the rabbis illustrated how his name in the gematria, the numerology of his name, actually means Messiah. Now there's some weird stuff here that's going on. So think about this for a moment. In the Jewish Zohar, 700 years ago in medieval Aramaic, Orthodox Jews speculated about when will the Messiah be on the earth, right? And in the Vieira section of the Zohar, they said he will arrive on earth in the year 57, he will make himself known in the year 5773, which was 2012 to 2013. Oddly enough, Trump goes to Israel in 2012, decides not to run for U.S. president, meets with heads of states, comes out of that, you can watch the YouTube on television, and he starts talking to the Jewish people, telling them to vote for Benjamin Netanyahu and the Likud party, which they did, right? Wow. But what the Zohar said was, he will be identified. From that day and forward, there have been at least a dozen Jewish rabbis that have said, the Messiah is on earth now. He's been identified. He is soon going to make himself known. Well, some key things have to happen for the messianic figure in the Jewish mindset. For the Messiah to arrive, you can't think of him like we think of Messiah. We think of Messiah after the model of Jesus. He's the Son of God, divine birth, all of that. That's not the way the Jews look at the Messiah. They're looking for a king. They're looking for a political leader. As a matter of fact, Messiah to them means the anointed one, and it goes back to the ancient days when they would anoint a king and recognize him as this is the man that God sent. And what they're looking for is several things. First of all, they're looking for somebody in a political figure who can lead decisive battles in defense of Israel. This is why the only politician on the face of the earth that was standing up and saying, if I'm elected president, I'm going to be the biggest friend that Israel's ever had. We're going to undo the Iran deal, well, blah, 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 right? And being a friend of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Blah, blah, blah,
Secondly,
right?
They're looking for, when the Messiah comes, there will be an ingathering of Jews from around the world back into the Holy Land. That's why the rabbis on the eve of his election went on television and said, we need to call now Jews from around the world, come back to Jerusalem because the Messiah is here, right?
Yes.
There's another thing. Thirdly, they talk about when he arrives, he is going to reinstitute the temple service. So what was the second thing they did? They called on Trump and Putin to use their power to rebuild the temple and to reinstitute the temple service. They have identified somebody. I mean, there could be a few rabbis there that think he's the Messiah. The other third key is he has to be of the Davidic dynasty. He has to be of the Davidic bloodline. And there is an effort right now to go back through the European monarchy, cousins of President Donald Trump, to show that his bloodline goes back to the Davidic dynasty. I'm just saying there's something very strange here that's going on, and everything I'm saying can be verified. Multiple news agencies, the Jerusalem Post, Breaking Israel News, they're all talking about this right now. So they too believe that we are in the end times. They too believe that the Messiah is about to appear. We would say the second coming is about to happen, but their Messiah is going to be a false Messiah. He's going to be the Antichrist, right?
So here's Rabbi Shapira.
So I went to the Jewish deli, and of course we had the discussion on Trump. I asked them, who is Trump to you? And you know what they said? Trump is our new Messiah, actually.
The Jews at the deli say Trump is their new Messiah.
We have a president that has been the best president in the history of the United States towards the Jews and towards Israel. There's no question about it. No president was nice to the Jews and to Israel more than him.
You know, we just gave the embassy in Jerusalem, making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I just gave Golan Heights, recognized Golan Heights for Israel. I've done all of this for Israel. We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
Trump, and this is the greatest president for Jews and for Israel in the history of the world, not just America. Trump's the best president for Israel in the history of the world.
This is Wayne Allen Root, the Jewish Christian that is hosting the fourth hour now on InfoWars. The guy that believes Trump is the is the Messiah to the King of Israel, he calls him.
And the Jewish people love him like he is the King of Israel. They love him like he is the second coming of God.
I am the chosen one.
I am come in my Father's name, and ye received me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive.
Slide deck, we have shown numerous times how the birth of Trump, it's got sevens into our time window over and over and over again. So we'll show that slide in a little bit. But the essence of this slide is pretty critical because basically it shows something pretty incredible. And it goes to the fact that we're going to talk about scriptures, but in Isaiah 45, verse 2. Interesting. What Trump was what president? 45? He's going to have apparently how many terms? 2? 45? He's going to have apparently how many terms? 2? Isaiah 45 verse 2 says, I will go before you and level mountains. Now, a mountain very much is governments. Mountains are things that are not movable. But God raises kings, presidents, and knocks them down. But biblically, the kingdom of David comes in at year 70. This is crazy. And it's happening right in front of us. And so Trump, believe it or not, brings in the kingdom. Who's the kingdom of David? The line of Judah. Where did Jesus Christ's bloodline come from? The kingdom, the line of David. The bloodline of David, meaning that means the return of Christ. So Messiah comes from the bloodline of David. This is all scriptural. So the Messiah comes from the bloodline of David. Jesus Christ came from the bloodline of David. When Christ returns, what's happening? We're going to see the return, listen closely, the return of the bloodline of David. From the day Trump was born to the day his first day in office was 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., from the day he was born to the day he endorsed Trump, was the exact same number of days.
Wow.
70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. The reason I reference Isaiah 45 verse 2 is, I will go, the Lord God will go before you and level mountains. What does that mean? What the scripture is saying is that from the day Trump was born, he already knew the challenges he's going to face in office. Think about this. God knew the challenges Trump would face in office 70 years later. So what did he do? He went before him. RFK was born exactly 7 years and 7 months later. RFK was born after Trump's birth. You see, and the pieces now come together because now you have a Democrat endorsing a Republican, which is in essence game over for the election. But we're talking alpha predators. So these people will not give up. They've proven to us in the year 2020 what they can do. So this is a fight to the death. So God, he's going before Trump. He's stacking the deck. He's setting it up so incredibly that he's freaking evil out. They are freaking out right now. God's setting the stage for what he's about to do. And so I just want people to please understand the magnitude of this calculation. Explain to me how RFK, from the day he was born to his endorsement, was the exact same number, 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. See, people, this is not possible. It's not possible unless it's by design. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You can keep saying, oh, that's random, but at some point, you become fools. The point I'm trying to make is, those who think they got everything figured out, and the atheists of this world, or those that believe in diviners and the psychic. See, God makes fools of diviners. God will make fool of the learned. He'll make fools of them all. Because at some point, all the pieces start fitting so nicely and perfectly together that it's beyond any mathematical possibility. If people think life is random, this is literally God's divine math. Look at this. Historic things happen with Trump. This is impossible. It's absolutely impossible that the U.S. embassy opened 700 days and 7 years to the exact day from Trump's birth. It's impossible that Israel proclaimed a state 700 days from his birth. I could just go on and on and on, but I don't want to waste time here. The slide deck's free for people. Go look at this, and please write me if you think this is random. It's mathematically impossible. And so what I'm just trying to show you, that God's in charge of all this. Go to slide 2. If you want this slide deck, it's free. It's right there.
Yep, there you go. The slides are free. You can point your phone at the QR code and grab it right there.
You can't stop what's coming. That's the key here. You can't stop what God has ordained. I've shown you through the math, calculations that go back thousands of years, how perfect the math is. We've even had the Jewish rabbis confirm the time cycle for us.
Read that one in English again.
Amalchut, Achona, the last kingdom.
The last kingdom.
Yeah, it means that all the previous were not eternal, but this will be
so this is...
and the most interesting numerical value, Gematria, is Biat HaMashiach, the coming of Messiah, 776.
Wow.
The numerical value of the Biat HaMashiach. Yeah.
And what's the big one at the bottom?
Is written, what is written? 7 are the Tapshina and Vav, 776. This is the year. 776 is 776. And all these sentences are 776.
Okay, but it would actually be 5776.
Yeah, because you see, we look on days, we took every millennia, every son as a separate part.
Right.
Yeah? So therefore...
So how do we know it's the fifth?
No, because you see, according to our tradition, Messiah will come in this millennium, which is the sixth one, right?
Really?
Yeah. This is why the numbers don't have the 5 here, because it's self-understood. When you speak about Messiah, you relate to 5,000.
So the basis of what he's saying is that specifically the Messiah comes, or the bloodline of David, comes in 776. And he gave you like 7 or 8 different ways to calculate the number 776. But every one of them that he was showing you illustrated that the kingdom of Messiah, the kingdom of David, comes in 776. What year is that, Noah? 2016.
And so what are you saying, Bo? I mean, are you saying you believe that Trump is actually literally from David's bloodline, or are you saying just, really?
He's got to be. He's got to be from that bloodline. I don't know what else to say based on what we're seeing happening since Obama specifically came in the time of troubles based on calculations. So all I know is the math. The math is screaming that the bloodline of David starts with Trump.
So not like a symbolic or whatever, but you really think that he could be in that bloodline?
It's got to be the true bloodline of David.
Wow.
The math is screaming that is the truth. And unless you can discredit the math, then that is the truth. And unless you can discredit the math, then that is the truth.